say something when they're all going to pass out?
Could I have your attention, please? Before I formally introduce our speaker, I'd like to tell you a few things about her. She was our Florida state president and made enormous strides for the state league when she was president. She also was a candidate for national president of the United States for the league. I keep telling her she should reconsider. You know, a lot of us wore yellow today, and I bought some really glitzy beads. So I have her behind the screen. I'm going to put some beads on her. Is everyone ready to welcome our guest speaker? Okay, Deidre, we're going to celebrate solo with you. Come on up.
Only in Palm Beach. It is such a pleasure to be here today with all of you. And Palm Beach has been the engine for our state. You guys historically have been the largest league in the state, and you have been the place, yes, thank you, that's a good thing to clap about, and you have also been the source of so many initiatives that have gone on to take their place in Florida history. So I think you all need to give yourself a big pat on the back for the difference that you have made. And before I start to talk about solar, I saw that there are a number of visitors here today, and I want to ask those who are members if you would raise your hand if you have met some of your best friends through the League of Women Voters. See, I think this organization is so unique, and I'm telling you this because we want you to join. This organization is unique because A, you have fun, B, you meet people who will be friends the rest of your life, but C, it will give you, as you look back on your life, some of your proudest accomplishments in terms of the difference you have made and the pride you have on the work you have done. Your voice has been amplified by the League of Women Voters, and those friendships endure on and on. I see it over and over, how people go on trips together, and they become their strongest support network. So I really, if you have not joined, I hope and invite you to do so today. I heard from Pam Goodman, who I met through the League of Women Voters, who's our state president now, who's up at national at a meeting, yes, that we are now the second largest league in America. And I believe that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're an organization that believes that diversity is our strength. Diversity is our strength. People of all color, people of all ages, gender, political, persuasion, interest, and perspective. This is a true big tent. We have radical Democrats, we have radical Republicans, we have Tea Party members. This is a safe place for people to come together on the issues. So again, and we have a lot of fun. We go to Cuba, don't we? We've done, I think, 30 trips to Cuba. With Annie Betancourt, who's Cuban, and introduced many of us. I went 5 times with with the League of Women Voters. Raise your hand if you went on our Cuba trips. So we have trips to Washington, Seneca Falls, and Cuba, and we're always looking for ideas to go to other places. So this is a group that will expand your horizon, your knowledge of how our state and our country work, and it will introduce you to people who you will become friends with the rest of your life. And I will just add this as a footnote, you will work your behind off for this organization, 40, 60 hours a week, with pleasure. With pleasure. That is the amazing. And when I ask people for money to support the League, we have something called the Harry T. Burns Society. Elaine Goodman's been making calls here, which has been wonderful. $1,000 donors, but any amount people can give. This is your best nonprofit investment because we have 3 staff people in Tallahassee leveraging the work of 6,000 people across the state who work their butts off for good government. And I gave this presentation yesterday to a group in Central Florida, and they said, why is the League doing this? And I said, the answer to that question is why we do anything. Because we believe in the greater good. That's why we volunteer all these hours. We are visionaries who look ahead and see not what is, but what can be. And we reach out to our fellow citizens, to our fellow groups, and we make things happen. Look at fair districts. That is the single thing that has changed the landscape. That is the change in our state constitution that now gives voters a real choice when they go to the polls. It's not like you flip a switch and it happens overnight. We know that's not how government works. But this group worked on that issue from the beginning of the League of Women Voters in Florida, which was back in the 1940s. It was the first issue the League said needed to be changed, get rid of gerrymandering. We worked on it when the Democrats were in charge. We worked on it when the Republicans were in charge. We did 4 petition drives, separate ones. We never gave up. How many lawsuits? 13. We won every single one. So this was Corinne Miller. Where's Corinne? I know she's there working on that. And so many others of you in this room who were out there getting petitions signed, raising funds, speaking to different groups to explain to them why this was a good thing, and getting passage by 62%. So this was a big feat, and I just wanted to do that little unpaid commercial because this is an organization that you will never regret. I have to tell you, one of my proudest moments, we had visitors from South Africa. My son was sitting at the table, and he had to live through all the years of me not, shopping with him at Target and talking to a radio station about fair districts. I was always disengaged. And he said to the visitors, do you have a League of Women Voters in South Africa? And they said, no, we don't. He said, well, you really need to. It's a very important organization. Boy, did that make me proud. So if you haven't joined yet, this is your day. They have membership forms at the table. We'll take your check right away. All right, let's move on to solar. I am here today to recruit you to help change the course of Florida, American, and interplanetary history. This is a grassroots campaign, and it will only be effective if you step forward. So I'm going to tell you about solar, and I'm going to tell you about how this started. But everybody knows I love history, and so we're going to start with, I guess I'm changing my own slides. Hang on one second. How many of you knew Thomas Edison used to live in Florida? I never knew this until I got involved in solar. Well, we know he was a tremendous visionary. By the way, raise your hand if you've changed your light bulbs to LED. Good job. That saves you an enormous amount of energy right there. So he said, I put my money on the sun and solar energy. I hope we don't have to wait until oil and gas and coal run out. And here we are in the Sunshine State, Florida today. Experts say we should be among the top 3 in the country and the #1 on the East Coast, the number one. But we are lagging behind. Numerous studies show we're anywhere from 14th to 20th. I see. Okay. And we have more population coming. What does that mean? If we don't figure out a way to conserve our energy and to use renewable energy, we're going to be building more what? Power plants. And that's the single biggest reason your power bill goes up. So this is, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the U.S. average. We in Florida spend 40% more than the national average, not because our per unit cost is more, but because air conditioning. Whoops. And Florida was headed in the wrong direction, but as you all know, we worked our butts off. And we passed Amendment 4, which just got implemented this session, which means commercial buildings will get all kinds of tax breaks on solar. And we stopped an amazing Amendment 1 where the utilities spent $26 million. That was a grassroots, historic battle. And we need more of those because one of the things I particularly loved about it, besides the fact that we beat them spending $26 million and we spent about $200,000, it was the one time I can remember the Tea Party, the Democrats, the Christian Coalition, the League of Women Voters, the Sierra Club, all these groups came together to say, no, this is wrong, this is bad. We even beat Pat Boone. How many of you got that phone message on your answering machine telling you to vote yes? Okay. So what's wrong with this picture? You know what? I just realized, I think, did we put the solar PowerPoint up? This may be a different version. Where's my IT person? Let's just have a quick look because I want to make sure the new one has more dollars and cents about how much systems cost. So bear with us for a second. Which one is this? Yeah, I want the one that says solar on it, if you can easily switch. This will just take a moment. We need Elaine to put the polar bear outfit back on.
You want the one that says
Wait a minute.
solar.
No, I'm teasing. Okay, let me see if I see it there.
Let me find, wait.
No, I don't see it on there. That's
I
interesting.
gotta go find your desk.
Okay. There's solar, that solar one.
So
There we
sorry.
go. That's all right.
I meant to ask you what you wanted. Okay.
We can do it, and I can do a really fast switch. All right, so this is important. So let me just get to this, because this has some new information. How many of you know that everybody can put solar on their roof? Your homeowner association cannot stop you. We have it as a law. Also, we have a state law that requires utilities to buy back the energy that if you have solar on your roof and you can't use it, you get a credit. Also, when you put solar on your roof, it is exempt from both sales tax and increasing your property tax. So commercial is taking off. All the beer distributors and the big refrigeration plants, they are saving thousands and thousands of dollars with this. It's moving fast. But what's wrong with this picture? Residential, does this look like Palm Beach? 0.1%. We have 12,000 homes in the state of Florida. That's like one subdivision, right? 12,000 homes that have solar. We are changing that. Our goal is to make the state of Florida take its rightful position, #1. So we understand that the two key reasons that people are not moving forward on solar is understanding knowledge, because it's hard to keep up with the new technology, and money. Raise your hand if you've thought about solar. How many of you? Look around the room. Just look around the room. Now keep your hand up if you put solar on. You see, now isn't that fascinating? And when I speak to groups across the state, Rotaries and Kiwanis, it's the same thing. 99% of people have thought about it. They've gone on and Googled it. And they got so confused, they said no. Okay? The other issue is money. Many people say, no, you know, it's $25,000, $45,000. I don't have that kind of money, and the payoff was really long. Well, we started a partnership with a group out of Washington, D.C., called FL Sun. I want to just tell you the story because it's one of those beautiful things. Like Margaret Mead says, never doubt for a moment that one person can change the world. So there was this family in Washington, a mother who was a lawyer, and her 12-year-old son, Walter, went to see The Inconvenient Truth. And Walter came home and he said, Mom, we have got to put solar on our roof. And Mom got a quote and she came back, she's, Walter's too expensive, doesn't make any sense financially. Walter kept bugging her. How many of us like to do that? It works every time. Keep bugging. So Walter kept bugging his mother, and she said, well, maybe if we can get enough people to go, we can get the price down. So Walter and his friend Jose slipped little yellow sheets of paper under the neighborhood doors. 100 people came to the meeting. 50 people went solar. They got the price down. And this woman started to get a lot of requests to do this cooperative idea, getting a lot of households and roofs together in other places. Well, one night she was on National Public Radio. Raise your hand if you listen to National Public Radio. And this woman was married to a boy who lives in Winter Park, and she pulled into her driveway and she kept her car going while she listened to the end of the program. And she said, I want to bring that to Florida. I wonder if they'd let us do that. So she called the next day and they said, sure, we'd love to do a pilot. And we did 2 pilots in Winter Park. And then we did a 3rd one with Republican Mayor Teresa Jacobs as the spokesperson. And I think it's important to understand that this is not a Republican or a Democratic. This is one of those rare issues where people from every political perspective understand this makes sense. This reduces our energy bills. It used Florida Energy. In the first co-op in Orange County, we had 60 people sign up. In the second co-op, we had 180. And in the 3rd one, 600 people signed up. It's the biggest co-op that Community Power Network, our partners, have seen anywhere in the country. So we started FL Sun with the goal of explaining to people how it works. And so what we do, and we work with the Sierra Club, the Audubon, we work with churches, we work with synagogues, we work with all kinds of groups that are interested in helping citizens reduce their energy bills. We put on information meetings. Does the League do that pretty well? You're darn right we do. That's our specialty, public information meetings. So at these meetings, people learn how solar works. What else did they learn? I can't remember. Oh, how the co-op works. And we also share financing. We are not connected with any of the financing companies, but we want them to know their options. So very simply, this is just a diagram. It's about all you want to know, unless you're an engineer, about solar, which is the sun hits the panels and it comes in as a DC current, but your house uses a different kind of electricity called AC. So it goes to what's called the inverter box, and then your house uses it for everything, to get your refrigerator cold, air conditioning, charge your cell phone, and then the extra electricity that you're creating, you sell back to the utility. My bills, I paid $11,000 January 2016 for my system. I got a 30% federal tax credit, which keeps going through more or less 2020. Now I'm down to 8. I paid $3,100 a year for energy. Now I'm paying about $1,500. My last 3 bills were $10, minus $1, and $14. I have 4 air conditioning systems on my home. It's unbelievable what solar is able to do, and many people who were in the first co-op are now putting more panels on their house, which I'm thinking about too. All right, so this is our state expert. His name is Jim Fenton. He is the director of the Florida Solar Energy Institute Center in Melbourne, part of UCF, and their group approves every new design for solar, so he really knows his stuff. He joined the co-op in Brevard and put solar on his roof, and he said, this is incredible because the co-op, this big co-op thing that we're doing, has brought the price down from $4 to about $2 is what we're seeing now per watt. Wow. So instead of spending $25,000 for a solar system, you're looking at an average now of $10,000 and $11,000. And he says, if you're getting 14% return in the market, would you raise your hand, by the way, because I'd like to speak to you after the program. If you're getting 14%, keep your money in that investment. But solar panels now, at the rate that you can get through the co-op, and he sounds like a used car salesman, he's not getting anything from us. He said this is a decision that everybody should be doing. If their roof works for solar, and they have the ability to either finance it or pay for it, now is the time. The price of solar has fallen almost by 90%. It is so low. You have a question? Yes. Unfortunately, this is geared at the moment. This is a question I get a lot. Can we put it on? I either own a condo or I rent an apartment. This is geared for homeowners. But this, what we hope to do, because Florida right now doesn't allow entities to resell energy unless you're a utility. So if you put it on your multi-unit building, somebody is reselling that energy, unless the utility puts it on. So unfortunately, we're not there yet, but we're planning on getting there, and there was a bill that was proposed. Another question, and then I'm not going to take any more till the end. Yes?
I read in the paper that they are now making tiles so it can look like a regular roof that will be solar panels.
We get a lot of questions about this. This is the Elon Musk roof tile. And that cost in general, it hasn't been produced yet. They're taking our orders just like a new Tesla car. But you're looking at a premium product. So if you are about to build or re-roof and you want really good-looking, expensive tiles for your roof finish, you're looking at about $60,000. But the average person has a roof already, and so you're looking at a difference of $11,000 with a very fast, a payback of 14% a year. I figure I will pay mine off in about 5, maybe 6 years. It is remarkable how effective it is. So anyway, bottom line, 14%. I think these numbers are important because at the end of the day, while many of us want to do the right thing, it's a financial decision. So he says rooftop solar through the co-op is now 4 cents a kilowatt. He looked at the average cost of electricity in the state of Florida, and he said that is roughly 12 cents for fossil fuels. That's 1/3. That's 1/3. So you're looking at a lifetime. Most panels are warranted for 25 years, which is longer than I'll live in the house. But they have a very long lifespan, and there's virtually no maintenance except when the rain comes, which washes off the pollen. So they're very well constructed, safe in hurricanes. Jim Fenton has showed pictures where the roof disappeared, but the solar panels were still there. And this is Jim Fenton's diagram. It's a little complicated, but I think again, the question I get a lot is, what's the cost of an average system? And he says the average 5 kW system, I put in a 5.2 system, was $10,000 minus the federal tax credit, which is in this case $3,000, which gives you a total out-of-pocket of $7,000. And then the payback is, he says, 8.5 years with a 14.2% return on investment. So you get savings as soon as you hook up. You start seeing the difference in your energy. Whoops. And the other thing that's interesting is, how does it affect your resale value? Well, we didn't even put up some of the information we found on the internet, which had a Northeast analysis that showed 99,000 increase for homes with solar over those that didn't, because it seemed too hard to believe, frankly. But the bottom line is they're seeing from studies as much as a $15,000 increase over homes that don't have solar. So people understand, and younger buyers really get it. So, what is a co-op? A co-op is not a community garden. It is everybody putting solar on their own roof. It's homeowners forming a cooperative to bundle their buying power. So we put a link on, people sign up. We started in Alachua 2 weeks ago. We have 50 people signed up. So we're already going to the next step, which is looking for installers who send a bid in. And then those that are going to use it to put solar on are on the selection committee. And they sit around the table when all the bids come in, and they decide which one has the best quality, the best reputation, and the lowest price. And use, different groups care about different things. Some want American-made panels, some want the lowest price, some, different things. And the beauty is you get, a whole array of people, lawyers, accountants, engineers, who sit around and have knowledge about these things and contribute their individual knowledge. And so we see this free market approach resulting in some very significant discounts on solar, giving Florida right now some of the lowest prices in the country. So each homeowner contracts individually. You don't do it as a group. They then come out and they give you a quote for your roof, and they tell you the payback and everything. There's no charge for that. And if you decide to go to your brother-in-law who lives across town or something like that, you can go outside. There is no obligation or commitment by anybody who signs up. So we have lots of partners, but never enough. We have Sierra Club in almost every marketplace, and I think they've expressed interest. And by the way, I'm talking to you today because we want you all to join this committee and help Diane, who cannot do it by herself. We need speakers, we need volunteers to wear our yellow t-shirt and hand out flyers to get people to come to our meetings. So this is, I am looking for you to volunteer and step up and make history on this. The church, the Unitarian Church has been a very regular supporter, garden clubs, all kinds of groups. Each marketplace is a little bit different. And of course, we had to have pictures of happy homeowners. That's Mary DuBois, who started it with her husband and her greyhound. And it reduces your utility bill and increases your property value. People of all ages are doing it. This is an actual array. It's not a rooftop array at Disneyland. And there we are with our yellow shirts. We have a free yellow shirt for anybody who volunteers. And who doesn't want this? Let the sun pay your bills. Got solar. Sorry about that.
Show that picture again, the panel on the rooftop.
That one?
Yeah. So it goes on top of your roof?
On top of your roof. Sometimes people put it over their driveway. It can go on the ground, but usually for Florida, the roof is a good spot, and you want ideally a south exposure or an east or west. North is not a good place. That's not a worthwhile place to put it. Now, in this case, they put it in the front of their house because that was the best exposure. You want to put the panels where the exposure is the best.
And Co-op has 2 to 3 stories. Is that possible?
Yes, you can. Like I have a 2-story house, so you can put it on there. But again, when you get multiple apartments, it gets complicated. I'll talk to you about that after. Just hang on 1 second, everybody, because we're almost at the end. Let me go that way. Okay, so let's get going. Let the sun pay your bills, and let's make Florida the sunshine state, right? So we are looking today for you to volunteer to be part of the speaker corps and give this presentation to Rotary groups, your bridge group, Chamber of Commerce. And this is important because I know the Palm Beach League only wants to grow, and you guys are already a gorilla, your list of speaking gigs, because next year is coming what? The Constitutional Revision Commission. And we need speakers and groups we've been there for the solar. People are really interested in this. You will find when you give this that there will be multiple questions, and I'm taking Elaine's now.
Do you have any solar that you're working on in Palm Beach County?
We have Diane. Diane, stand up for a second,
I
Diane.
mean, as part of this co-op?
Do we have any solar that we're working on in Palm Beach County? And Diane Marks is the one who is chairing the league group to make this happen, and we're going to see the mayor of Palm Beach today and the Palm Beach Community Foundation, because we've gotten funding now. Thank you, Diane. So the answer is no. We haven't launched a co-op. We're planning on doing it, if Diane says okay, in October. and when all your snowbirds come back. And what we do is we run it for about 3 months. It's a window of opportunity. We'll have probably 3 or 4 or 5 meetings around your county. And we need you guys to start fanning the flames over the summer by talking to groups just like I am. Because you're probably sitting there going, you know, I think I'd like to put my name in and just see if my roof works. And that's it. It's just see if your roof works. And then you have the option of getting a proposal and seeing what it would cost. And the price is continuing to go down, but I don't think we're going to see the kind of radical changes we've seen. So we need speakers, we need volunteers, we need people to reach out to groups that they have connections with for us to speak to. And we always want to include the elected officials. We want them to speak when we launch it in our press conference. We want them to do like Mayor Teresa Jacobs did and use it to put solar on her own roof, because that's our protection against the utilities. And you guys, how many of you get your energy from FP&L? Okay. They were really the leader. They're building a lot of solar to their credit right now. But they really were the leader on the Amendment 1 initiative. So we are ready, litigation if necessary, with regard to changing the rates, which we know is likely to happen. But solar is here to stay. And solar makes sense in Florida. We want you to take advantage of it as soon as possible. And we know the League is a proven, trusted voice in this community across the state of Florida. People know the League of Women Voters and they trust us. So we are a really good place for people to go to, and they don't feel like they're getting pushed into something they won't want to do. This is, even if you don't put solar on, we want you to leave an informed solar citizen, because this is the direction we need to go in this world. Yes?
You're asking for speakers or people willing to speak for the cause and volunteers. Would you prefer that your speakers or people volunteer to speak be those people who have solar installations? I can just
No.
imagine someone asking a question, and so do you have solar? And you have to say no.
No, but I will put my name down to be in the co-op when it starts. You know, there are very few people that have solar, so we'll have a tiny little group of people speaking. I don't think that's a requirement. We have a lot of people who can't have solar. You know, they either live in a condo or they don't have the right amount of sun because of trees, and we never recommend cutting the trees down. Yes?
I have a question about the
Yes,
co-ops. Does that have to be like one community, or can you have a house in A community and a house in B community in the same co-op?
Good question. The size of the co-op is going to be all Palm Beach County. So you don't need to all live in Mirasol, or I don't know all the neighborhoods here, but so you can live anywhere in Palm Beach County, and you'll have 3 months to put your name in. 3 months. It's a tiny window. Now, I'm hoping today with Diane to begin to generate some funding. We were able to get Miami-Dade to give $75,000 to fund a full-time person to do 6 co-ops in Miami-Dade. Well, heck, you guys are almost as big as Miami-Dade. You need your own person here, too, so we can, over time, do as many as 6 co-ops, because as we've seen in Orange County, each time it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes? Sure.
We showed 5 kilowatts and 9 kilowatts. You said you picked a 5 kilowatt. Give me an idea about square footage of your home to get a sense of what 5 kilowatts would do. And that did not include labor, correct?
It did include labor.
Included labor.
Included labor. Yeah. So let me say that solar is not a cut and dry thing. So I have about a 5,000 square foot home, but I have a certain amount of shade on my roof. So the first bid they gave me was closer to the 10 kilowatt, but they said, you know, you could do half of that and get a lot of benefit. And so I went with half the size system that they recommended, and I've had a huge difference. Now, the woman who started it, and I showed you the picture of her with the Greyhound, she put on 5.7 kilowatts. She's got a house half my house's size, and she just put on 10 kilowatts in total. So she added to her system because she was so impressed with the savings, and she wants to get an electric car. Raise your hand if you're thinking of a hybrid or an electric car. Good. All right, well, that's my next campaign. We're going to call it the Next Car Pledge, which means we want to get everybody to take the pledge that the next car they buy is going to be an electric or hybrid car. Okay? So start thinking about that. But solar gives you the ability to provide, and then it gets, I didn't put that chart in, but Jim Fenton has a chart that basically, how many of you pay how much for gas? $2.24? When you have solar and you have an electric car, it's like 25 cents. It's amazing. Yes?
Explain this to me, please. My understanding is that the solar creates energy real time and you use it real time. What you don't use, you can sell back, in our case, Florida Power and Light. How does Florida Power and Light pay us?
On your energy bill. So you get a credit on your bill. Although last month I got a -$1 bill. That's the lowest I've never been in the negatives before. But so you know I have.
Every month then you get a credit?
Every month you get a credit on your energy bill. Every month. Now I don't know if I answered the gentleman in the back question, but so it's complicated. I can't say if you have a 2,000 square foot home, it'll cost X, or a 5,000 square foot home will cost Y, because it depends on your shade, your roof orientation, how much you want to invest in it, that kind of thing. Whether you have an electric car, people with electric cars who are planning for one might want to put a little more in. Did you have a follow-up? No.
When you kept speaking, I forgot.
Okay. I use that technique all the time with my husband.
Fairly new roof, looking at ours, and our roof has to be replaced like in 3 years, and it's like replace the roof and then put in the solar, because I don't know if we can take it down and put it up.
So this is a very common question. I had that question myself. And basically, my roof was about 10 years old. So I said, I'm not ready to put a new roof on, but I want to go ahead with solar. How much will it cost? And now, as a matter of course, in our co-ops, the installer who wins puts in, and it was $1,500. Take the panels off, have a new roof put on, and then put the panels back on. So they include that as a matter of course, because so many of us, may need to replace our roofs in the next 5 or 10 years. I had someone tell me the other day, they also think an added benefit to solar is it's protecting your roof. It's like having a little roof over your roof, which is very helpful on your sunniest sides, protecting those shingles. Oh wait, this gentleman here, I'll come back to you.
I just wanted to answer his question.
Please.
A kilowatt will use somewhere between 50 and 60
May I suggest you stand up, because I'm sure people want to hear what you have to say.
A kilowatt of solar will use somewhere between 50 and 60 square feet of roof space.
Okay. So
5 would be 250 to 300.
Yeah.
So what happens at night? The sun goes down, you have a battery, you store power. How does that happen?
Okay, so there